Investors come in all shapes and sizes, from your mom and pop putting money away for their retirement to multinational corporations buying up participants in their own supply chains. Of all of these, there are perhaps none that have a greater impact on what they are investing in than the activist investor. Activist investors usually seek to buy up a controlling interest in a company in order to enact changes which could increase the value of the shares they purchased to take control of the company in the first place. It's important to note that not all activist investing takes this exact form. Sometimes activist investors will only buy up a minority stake in the company, but still use their relative voting power to appoint new board members and change the direction of the ship slowly over time. This strategy minimizes risk exposure to a single company, but it's obviously a lot harder to enact broad sweeping changes because they forgo total power when they don't control the majority of the shares. Some activist investors will actually do the exact opposite and short a company's stock while attempting to push through changes in the government rather than the boardroom. A great example of this was Bill Ackman's failed short position on Herbalife, in which he attempted to lobby policymakers to class the company as an illegal pyramid scheme. This was still investing and taking an activist approach to increase the value of the position, but it's not what people normally think about when they think activist investor. Activist investors are also not to be confused with active investors, which is simply a title applied to anybody who buys and sells stocks to hopefully outperform the market. Activist investors normally take the form of a large private investment firm which will raise money from a wealthy owner or small group of accredited investors. The accredited investors won't invest in an individual company per se. They will rather be investing in the competence of the management team running the activist investment fund. There are some famous examples of these operations making sweeping changes and radically improving a company's long-term prospects. Third Point Partners, one of the largest activist investment firms operating in the States today, recently urged Disney to suspend dividend payments to shareholders and redirect those funds to the development of a streaming service, what you and I know today as Disney+. The timing could not have been better, because Disney eventually did roll out its streaming platform in November of 2019, just months before the start of the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent lockdowns around the world. Some activist investors take an even more hands-on approach. Carl Icahn, one of the wealthiest men in the world, made his fortune through the process known as corporate raiding. He would target companies with lots of assets but limited growth opportunities and poor corporate governance. He would buy up a controlling interest in those companies and either redirect them towards a more profitable business model or would slowly pull them apart, laying off workers and selling the component parts of the company for more than the shares were worth. This type of activist investing is obviously very unpopular because it means that the employees lose their jobs, which can devastate thousands of families and even entire communities that rely on the company's continued operations to support themselves. Recently, there has been a new breed of activist investors pushing for the memification of companies. These investors have seen the market power of humor and are attempting to replicate the success of assets like AMC, GameStop, and Doge-Coin by making their own companies equally attractive to retail investors with high-risk appetite. But will this be a viable long-term play? Common sense would dictate no, but these organizations are not dumb and they might actually have a pretty well thought out plan here. So it's time to learn how money works, which was made possible this week by Atlas VPN. You might remember a few videos ago, I spoke about VPNs trying to scare you into buying their service. Well, to much of my surprise, Atlas VPN actually reached out to me after that video and said that they would like to sponsor a video to give an honest breakdown of what a VPN can actually do. So, if you are afraid of your bank passwords getting stolen when you log into public Wi-Fi at a cafe, you need a new bank, not a VPN. What Atlas VPN will do is allow you to make it look like you are using the internet from a totally different location, perhaps a different city or an entirely different country. This can let you access content on YouTube, Netflix, and other streaming services that are restricted in your home country. Or if you are planning on finally traveling again, it also lets you shop around for the best hotel and airline deals. I live in San Francisco, so airline websites make the bold assumption that I am rich and would be willing to pay top dollar for my seat on their plane. When I change my location to a region with a lower cost of living, I have literally saved hundreds of dollars on the same trip on the same airline. And if you are still concerned about your online security, then Atlas VPN has a feature called Data Breach Monitor, which automatically scans leaked databases from compromised websites and alerts you if any of your personal information has been exposed. Atlas VPN is also incredibly affordable. Viewers of this channel can enjoy these services all for just $1.39 per month when they use my link to sign up. They also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there is literally no risk in trying out a service that has allowed me to give my audience an honest breakdown of the benefits they offer. Now back to our activist investors pushing for the memification of public companies. What is the goal here? Well, you might think it's just to be the beneficiary of the next Wall Street Bets pump and dump. And sure, that would be a huge bonus, but it's not really the main goal. Let's look at a recent white paper by the firm New Orion, which has recently taken an activist investor role in the retailer Macy's. The firm has suggested, amongst other things, that the retailer partner with certain electric vehicle manufacturers like Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid. The plan is for the retailer to showcase these cars in their stores to drive attention to their stores. Patrick Boyle, a fantastic YouTuber and hedge fund manager, covered this particular example in a video over on his channel, where he pointed out that this paper specifically omitted companies like GM, Ford, and Nissan, who also have their own electric vehicle offerings. The logical conclusion was that these companies just don't attract the kind of attention that the investors were looking for. Tesla is worth more than almost every other traditional automaker combined, and even the perception of being aligned with them grants a huge multiplier to the company's valuation. You only need to look at the market value of Hertz doubling after they announced that they would be purchasing 100,000 Teslas for their fleet back in October to see this effect in action. New Orion's paper later went on to suggest that Macy's should start accepting unspecified cryptocurrencies online and in person as a payment alternative to the traditional credit cards and cash. This does not offer any functional benefit for regular business operations. I'm sure only a regular portion of Macy's customers know what cryptocurrency is, let alone want to use it to buy silverware. What it will do is make headlines that a major retailer is now accepting cryptocurrency to facilitate purchases. The kind of people that read these headlines will likely not be Macy's customers, but rather they will be investors looking to hop on the next stock that has just the right combination of nostalgia and meme-worthiness. This is really nothing new. The tech bubble of the late 1990s saw company valuations jump hundreds of percentage points simply for putting .com at the end of their name, even if the name change reflected no actual change to the business operations. More recently, the joke has been that if you want to triple your startup company's market valuation, you need to put a ping pong table and beanbags in your San Francisco head office. Ping pong tables and beanbags obviously make your business a tech company, and tech companies are just naturally worth 5 times more than a regular company with the same underlying fundamentals. 6 times more if you have kombucha on tap. But it's no secret that tech startups are just more attractive to investors, which means that anyone that wants to boost the valuation of a company in the short term should make it look like a tech company, even if it really isn't one. How many times have you seen a business try to shoehorn in artificial intelligence or digital platforms into their product offerings? There are some companies that do genuinely utilize these technologies, but most only have them there to attract investors who are trying to tailor their portfolio to ride the wave of the AI revolution, or whatever the other nonsense flavor of the month is. Well, what is getting people excited these days is the potential that their company could be picked up as the next meme stock. The tech company multiplier is so 2019. If you really want an unrealistically high valuation these days, you need to be a meme company. However, I said at the beginning of this video that this was not about trying to be the next darling of Wall Street Bets, and that's true. Winning the meme lottery is great, and any activist investor would be more than happy to take that win, but meming up a company offers these activists a more consistent benefit. We have already seen how it gives them free publicity specifically targeted at the retail investors they want to attract, but it also warns off potential short sellers. Most activist investors tend to take control of cyclical companies because those offer the highest potential for growth if they are able to turn the company around. Cyclical companies are the logical target of short sellers who want to take a bet on the slow but inevitable demise of a company that has no obvious reason for existing in the modern world. Brick and mortar game shops at the age of Steam libraries? Anyone? But the bears have learnt their lesson. Even if it makes sense to short a company based on its fundamentals, it's probably best to steer clear of any business that is making headlines for reasons that excite this new age of investors. Now, you might be wondering how sustainable this new way of doing business is, and the only answer I can give is, I don't know. Activist investors tend to have a short-term interest in a company. They want to get in, fix things up, and get out with a nice healthy profit before doing the same thing all over again. Fixing a company's management and operations is hard, slow, and risky, so if an investment firm can secure the same profit by just making an announcement about electric cars, they would be silly not to. Ultimately, this is all made possible by investors who want to invest into a company because it's funny, because they think other investors will invest more into the company because they think it's funnier. I don't think that this has the potential to break the stock market or anything, but I think that the lesson here is not to get too excited about companies making seemingly impressive announcements about frontier technologies or creative ways of doing business. I would also warn against building a portfolio from something that you think is going to be the future. AI, space travel, and electric cars are all very exciting, but their true future potential has already been priced into their stocks by people who are much smarter than you or I. Wendy's can make sassy comments on Twitter, Macy's can park Teslas in their stores, and 20-somethings can like GameStop stock as long as they want. But if the core business is no good, there is only so long that a joke can delay the inevitable. If this warning about meme investing didn't make you angry enough, make sure to check out my video warning about ethical investing. Thanks again to Atlas VPN for offering a fantastic deal to my viewers and making it possible for everybody to keep on learning how money works.